Hello everyone, this is Dan Gramza, and welcome to Gramza Market Studies for Tuesday, December 15th. Before I begin, I just want to say thank you to the people who came up to me and said something this past Saturday in Florida, Jorge and Narando and John. It was really a pleasure meeting you all, and also all the other people who stopped to say hi. I appreciate that. And let's take a look at what's going on here today. We're seeing some positive movement yesterday in the action and the stock indices. For example, the NASDAQ is knocking on the door at these highs. The issue, as we've talked about before, it's going to be how it behaves as it moves towards these upper levels. Do we see shadows? Do we see solid bodies? Do we see small bodies? Those are all the clues we're looking for. And actually, the market that has exemplified, I think, some of the strongest behavior is actually the mid caps. Here we've seen this market take off, and I've had some people ask about the two green lines. The whole thing with that is this was the original buy point, and this second buy point you see here was because of the structural setup we had there, and I thought that would be a place. As I discussed in the advanced video, a place to add to that position. So that's why you see this second green line here. So that would be a second position. It would have also reached magnitude objective, and right now the break-even point would be at that level. Now let's continue on and take a look at what's going on with these currencies. I have to tell you, the currencies have been a bit of a challenge for me because we wanted to roll those contracts to March. If you notice that the stock indices, those were all March contracts, and we wanted to do the same with the currencies. However, I've had a little problem with data. I have about 4 systems, and they're all having a little bit of a problem. From my perspective, I think the action that we did see in the March contract implies that we may have gotten low enough to find some buyers in these markets. So that means that the dollar would get weaker, and we're looking for these currencies to get stronger. Nothing telling us to abandon short positions if someone had those on, but we have to be very cautious with the behavior that we're seeing here. In other words, when you see buying action coming in at an extreme, we need to respect that buying action. In the interest rate markets, short end of the curve, very bouncy, as we're finding buyers at these lower prices. You wouldn't be surprised to see these firm up. Same thing with the T-notes, same thing with the bonds. These are potentially bullish setups that we're seeing here. So again, if like in the bonds, from a short position point of view, nothing telling us to exit the position, but we want to be on guard. And if we can take out this green line we see here, we're looking for that push to the upside. In the metals markets, though, we're seeing a little bit different situation. In gold, can we get follow through from these buyers? That's the issue. And that's what we'd be looking for in today's action. However, if it does move up here, it's really important to get it close towards that 1145. Otherwise, we could end up in a sideways type market setup. Silver, the same thing. If we're going to get follow through, today's the day we should see it. That would be the ideal situation. Right now, though, nothing's saying abandon this short position. Copper, we're also looking for follow through today. You can see in Asia a little bit stronger. We're looking for that to continue throughout today. And when it comes to the energy markets, crude oil is moving slower, but it's also slower, right? We're seeing smaller bodies, shadows on the bottom, all signs that this market's losing momentum to the downside. That being said, I don't think there's a reason to jump up and be a buyer. However, if buyers can start pushing it back towards that $71 a barrel, I think that might be an interesting buying opportunity. Natural gas is slowing down. You know, we just can't get consistent follow through with this guy. That's been the problem now for months, and it still seems to be that way now. This is bearish the way it's setting up here. Again, I wouldn't stand aside on a long position, but I'd be ready to short it if this market does come off. Let's start with beans. Beans gave us a nice push here to the upside. We are looking for follow through on that. A lot of selling up here. Not an easy move for today. But that would be the concept. Can these buyers follow through? I think in corn we have to be cautious. We have had a nice move, but it's the way it's done it. In wheat, we really haven't seen a rally start. It truly is lagging behind these other markets. It looks like it wants to go up, and today'd be the day for it to do it. It'll be interesting to see if we do get that follow through. Well, this concludes today's market studies. I hope you found a few ideas helpful. I'm looking forward to being with you again tomorrow, and in the meantime, take care.